You ever sat in a training session and just felt your brain kinda turn to mush? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, good news. The days of those drowsy lectures and dusty old textbooks, they're pretty much over. Today, we're gonna dive into how tech is completely flipping the script on how we learn, making it way more personal, more engaging, and incredibly powerful.
And I mean, the shift we're talking about here, it's huge. We are leaving behind that old, passive, one-size-fits-all snooze fest, and we're moving into a world of dynamic, custom-fit training that, actually meets you where you're at. It's really the difference between someone just talking at you and you getting to actively experience what you're learning.
I mean, this contrast just says it all, right? On one side, you've got the past, that rigid, one-way street of information. And on the other, that's the future. You've got someone completely plugged into a VR simulation. And look, this isn't just a fresh coat of paint. This is a total, fundamental change in how we actually learn and share skills.
So, the big question is, why now? What's causing this massive shift? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into in our first section, the training revolution.
Okay, so this didn't just pop up out of nowhere. The groundwork was actually laid decades ago with some foundational learning theories. But just look at how fast things picked up. Computers in the 80s and 90s gave us that first little taste of digital learning. Then, bam, smartphones put training right in our pockets. Then social learning connected us all. It's like each step just built on the one before it, leading to this explosion of innovation we're seeing today.
So here's the real takeaway. Technology is tackling three of the biggest headaches of old-school training. First, engagement. It makes learning interactive, even fun. Then there's personalization. The system can actually tailor itself to you, so you're not bored by stuff you already know or totally lost by things that are too advanced. And finally, accessibility. You can literally learn anywhere, anytime. It's a game changer.
All right, so what are the actual tools driving this whole thing? Let's dive into that. In Section 2, we're opening up the new tech toolkit. First up, of course, is artificial intelligence, AI. The best way to think about it, it's like having the ultimate personal tutor. And it's not just some fancy algorithm. We're talking about systems that can literally watch how you learn, figure out where you're getting stuck, and then change the content on the fly to help you get it. It's a totally personalized learning path built just for you. And that brings us to two terms you hear all the time, but can be kind of confusing, AR and VR. So augmented reality, or AR, adds digital stuff onto your real world. A perfect example is a mechanic looking at an engine and seeing repair instructions pop up right on top of it. Virtual reality, VR, is different. It puts you inside a totally simulated world. Both are super powerful, just for different things.
Okay, next up in the toolkit is something called gamification. And honestly, this is the secret sauce. It's what makes learning feel less like a chore and more like a game. You just add all those things we love from video games, points, badges, leaderboards, into the training itself. It taps right into our natural desire to compete and, to win.
And here's why it works so well. It creates this awesome feedback loop. You get a challenge, which gets you motivated. You beat the challenge, you feel that sense of achievement, and you get a reward. That success makes you more engaged, so you're actually excited for the next challenge. It's a pretty brilliant way to keep people hooked and learning.
So we've seen the tools in the toolkit. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how this stuff is actually being used out there. On to Section 3, training in the real world.
And let's kick things off in a field where the stakes are, about as high as they can get. Healthcare.
This is just incredible. You've got surgeons using VR to practice super complex operations in a totally safe, zero-risk environment. Think about that. They can perfect their muscle memory, their decision-making, all without a patient ever being in danger. This isn't just about better training. It's literally saving lives.
All right, now let's jump from the operating room to the stockroom. Check this out. Walmart started using VR simulations to get new employees up to speed on everything, from handling the chaos of a Black Friday sale to using new equipment. And the result? They slashed their training time by 50%. Just think about what that means. People get productive way faster, training costs go down, and your team hits the floor feeling confident right from the start. That is a huge ROI. And of course, it's not just for business. These tools are totally transforming the classroom too. So you have these adaptive learning platforms that create a unique path for every single student. If a kid's flying ahead, the system challenges them with tougher problems. If another one is struggling, it gives them extra help. So what's the outcome? Nobody gets left behind, and everyone is challenged at exactly the right level for them. Okay, so we've seen the present, and it's already pretty incredible. But what's next? What's on the horizon? Let's look ahead in our final section, Learning's Next Frontier.
Now, first things first, let's be super clear. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. Just look at the growth in things like VR and AI over just 3 years. This revolution is already here, and believe me, it's only speeding up. So what's coming down the pipe? What should you be watching for? Well, there are 3 big trends. First, AI is going to get predictive. It won't just adapt to you, it'll start predicting the skills you're going to need next. Second, you've got metaverse classrooms. Imagine shared 3D spaces for virtual field trips or group projects. And third, something called microlearning, getting knowledge in tiny, bite-sized chunks that you can fit into your crazy busy schedule.
But look, let's be real. Adopting all this new tech isn't always easy. You got high costs, people who are resistant to change, and yeah, technical glitches. Those are all real problems. But the solutions are actually pretty practical. You don't have to do a massive, expensive overhaul. You can start small with a pilot program. You can handle resistance by showing people the why, the real benefits. And you can get around tech issues by using tools that are already proven and reliable. And all this really brings us to the most important question of all. With these incredible tools getting cheaper and easier to use every day, all those old barriers to learning are just disappearing. So it really makes you think, right? What skill will you master next?
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This is the heart of the revolution. We're moving past the time when learning was just about cramming facts into your head. We're stepping into a new era where learning is all about doing, about trying, about experiencing.
And you know, for all this talk about tech, the real goal here is something beautifully human. E-learning isn't here to replace people, it's here to create a space where our own creativity, our innovation, our passion, and our ability to work together can really, truly shine. Thanks so much for joining me.